Late Night Health continues. In a few weeks, we're going to be talking with Otto Jenke, the author of You Were Born to Be Healthy. And next week, we will have on our phone line Nick Delgado, internationally well-known anti-aging expert. He'll be joining us and talking about an upcoming event that's taking place in early November in Southern California. Right now, we go to Washington, D.C., and we join once again our friend. This is getting to be a regular thing. Kara Welch is our guest. Kara, how are you today?
Good, Mark. Thank you.
Kara is with the Natural Products Association, and I'm not sure if we're part of the NPA's family or they're part of our family, but we're certainly becoming interrelated there. During our first segment on the show today, we just talked with a pharmacologist who was talking about a recent study that vitamin D in healthy adults does not necessarily help build bone. I mean, I think I've said it fairly succinctly. Is that your consensus of what the study indicates?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's pretty clearly stated right on the front page. If anyone does have a copy of the study, the interpretation, they pretty much start by saying, continuing widespread use of vitamin D for osteoporosis prevention in community-dwelling adults without specific risk factors for vitamin D deficiency seem to be inappropriate. And it's really concerning that they use that word, inappropriate. That almost implies that it's bad for you, and I would really object to that. So there's a number of things about the study I object to, but
well, let's talk about that.
We'll start with inappropriate.
Sure. Let's talk about a normal adult in their 40s. They're healthy. They're not overweight. They don't smoke. Do they need to take a vitamin D supplement?
They very well could. And the study is trying to limit it to adults without specific risk factors, but even normal adults that have a normal diet, maybe not even a healthy diet, but a normal diet, could very well be deficient in vitamin D. This is one of those vitamins that it's really hard to get natural food sources of vitamin D. You don't get it in large quantities.
Well,
yes, thankfully a lot of our milk is fortified.
Right.
But if you wear sunblock, you don't drink a lot of fortified milk, you could easily become deficient in vitamin D, and that's the part that concerns me. This is a vitamin that a lot of people need.
Right. I said to Dr. Richards, who was our guest, I said that it's my understanding that we actually have a vitamin D epidemic, or we're close to it, in the United States.
And what did she have to say?
She didn't agree with that.
Well, yeah, and that's somewhat concerning as well. I mean, there's a lot of studies out there, and I'm sure a lot of studies on both sides, but I'm obviously talking more on one side, that folks today were very concerned about the exposure we're putting ourselves through with the sun, so we wear sunblock. Now, I personally don't always do my best effort at drinking my milk, while my son certainly gets all his milk that he needs. I don't always drink my fortified milk. I don't always get my food sources of vitamin D. So I get my vitamin D from multivitamin. I get it actually from calcium, specifically a calcium vitamin D supplement.
Okay.
And that's important to me to take every day.
But as a mom, as somebody who's working, you're in the you're busy. Vitamin D is it stored in the body, or is it expelled from the body?
Well, if Dr. Richards were on, I'm sure she would have a better answer for this. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not the best one to answer that. But it is one that you don't get a lot of sources from your foods. You can't store large quantities, if at all. So it is one that you kind of have to continuously give to your body. We have to continuously take in vitamin D.
Somebody I interviewed years ago said that the body is not perfect, and even though there could be X number of milligrams in your food source, you can't extract it. It doesn't come out. It's not absorbed by the body.
And I would certainly defer to others more knowledgeable on that aspect. But I do know that I mean, the study mentions at one point that they don't even think it's necessary to keep up with what the IOM says, the Institute of Medicine. The Institute of Medicine does recommend that adults, and really it's all adults, but we're focusing on older adults in this study, intake 600 to 800 IU of vitamin D and 1,000 to 1,300 milligrams of calcium. And the thing is, those are working in tandem. Those are both sides of the equation when you're working to prevent osteoporosis.
If you just take calcium, a calcium supplement without vitamin D, it's not as readily absorbed?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. You're not absorbing, you're not taking full advantage of your calcium supplement if you're not also taking vitamin D with it.
Got it.
Vitamin D prepares your body to then absorb the calcium. So it's really important that you take them together, that you maintain that regimen. And additionally, the study is really only looking at changes in vitamin D, and if that helps prevent osteoporosis.
Right.
I think that's the misleading part in that.
We are out of time. We're out of time, Kara. I really appreciate your taking the time to join us today from the Natural Products Association. Coming up next, we're going to talk about power napping and why it's good for us. More coming up here on Late Night Health. Don't go away.